Hey guys, Lucy here with more Jean Sibelius music. I'm excited to check out what else he's got. This is also a request from Brian M. Thank you, Brian. And yeah, you guys do a favor, hit that subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this. Without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so I will be linking the full video in the description below. But just so you know, I've been instructed to react to just portion of it. And I'm starting here. It's about 16 minutes, 27 seconds, and up to 56 minutes, 48 seconds, something like that. Yeah. So just so you know, this is what I'm reacting to if you go back and watch the original video. Let's go.
Well, next on this first night of the proms, one of the great romantic violin concertos, the work of the Finnish composer Sibelius. Intense and technically challenging, this is one of the true glories of classical music. We're off on a 35-minute voyage to Finland. The natural beauty of the country's striking landscapes almost seems to be painted into the music. Of course, once Sibelius had dreamt of being a star violinist.
Yeah, you really can feel that in this. It's written by someone who knows the instrument from the inside out. It famously asks a huge amount from the soloist, and tonight it's in the hands of one of the world's finest, Lisa Batiashvili, from a country pet shop with a really great name.
Which is?
Georgia.
You've been relishing saying that.
Just waiting for that.
Nick Mohammed is with us. You played violin in your university orchestra, and I think at one point you envisaged you might play the soloist role in this.
I think that was wishful thinking. I've got the score with me. I bought this, I think, in 2002.
Look at that, with the score right there.
I'm going to be following along. I bought it with the hope that I would one day be able to play it. I have never even got close, of course, because it is so virtuosic and so incredible.
But, I mean, having hopes is what poor old Sibelius had. He thought that he was going to wind up being a violinist along the lines of Lisa Batiashvili. That never quite happened, but can you sense the passion that he had for the violin, for the sound that it makes in this music?
It feels like he was obsessed with the instrument and the range of sound that he gets from the violin, and I mean just the sheer virtuosity of it. I mean, it's quite a phenomenal piece, and you can see why players kind of keep coming back to it, and that it's still so popular today.
He was a proud Finnish nationalist. He was determined to help rid his country of domination from Russia. He also loved the beauty of his country, and it's really interesting hearing this work after the Hebrides Overture, Fingal's Cave, which paints Scotland. Here we get a wonderfully visceral painting of Finland.
Yeah, there's a real... I love all Sibelius, but it always feels as such a visceral, sometimes quite a bleakness and a darkness to the way he paints the landscape. But like so much Sibelius, there's always a kind of a parting of the clouds, and this sort of I always sort of imagine it of like a ray of sunshine kind of coming through, and it just suddenly fills you with immense joy, like almost euphoria in his music sometimes. And you know, the Sibelius Violin Concerto is no exception.
And even the melancholy is just so remarkably
it's
beautiful.
So deep. Yeah.
But this is a concerto that all the greats have taken on. I mean, why is this one of the most performed concertos of the 20th century?
I wonder if it's just because of the sheer challenge of it, maybe, because it is so virtuosic and full of cadences and everything. I mean, it's magnificent.
You can't resist it. Well, this violin concerto is Sibelius's only concerto for the violin, and indeed his only concerto for any instrument. His own love letter to the violin he loved so much. What a way to do it. Lisa Batiashvili joining Sakari Oromo and the BBC Symphony Orchestra for one of the great concertos in the repertoire. Coming to the front of the stage, shaking hands with the leader. We're going to hear Sibelius's Violin Concerto.
Wow, the mood quite changed, didn't it? Oh my gosh, that's fire. is insane. Damn. Oh, I love this part. So good. The bass sounds so good there. Goodness gracious. Seriously. That was absolutely insane. Oh my god. Is that it? No, it's not. There's more. quite a switch up. girl. Killed it would be a massive understatement.
Lisa Batiashvili playing the Sibelius Violin Concerto. Zachary Oromo conducting the BBC Symphony Orchestra.
That was
Igor
mind-blowing.
Yusufovich, the orchestra's leader.
Wow.
A work that Lisa Batiashvili describes as being one of her closest friends. She first played it when she was 16 in the final of the Sibelius competition with Maestro Zachary Oromo conducting. Back here to perform it on this first night of the 2025 BBC Proms, live from the Royal Albert Hall on Radio 3 and BBC 2.
And you can really sense, I think, the closeness between Lisa Batiashvili and Zachary Oromo. And our guest tonight, Nick Mohammed, you were following that throughout with your score that you yourself bought when you thought you might have a crack at this concerto. What did you make of that,
Oh
Nick?
my goodness, that is, I mean, it was just staggering. I mean, that final movement in particular, it was almost like Sibelius' celebration of the violin, right? It is absolutely phenomenal. And Lisa just, I mean, you can hear it. What a staggering performance that was. And also, I had no idea. So she first played that when she was 16.
16. That's a joke,
16.
isn't it?
It has to be a joke, surely.
It's not fair. I thought it was interesting
That
that she's
is
commented that last movement, which is so tricksy,
Yeah.
she said it shouldn't sound technical. And I thought that's interesting because I think she's an understated player, Lisa
Oh,
Batiashvili.
completely. You definitely saw that in her poise. I mean, actually, she almost stays quite still. And yet, you know, all the finger flicking and everything involved, it's phenomenal. I mean, that was a staggering performance.
She made her Proms debut playing the Beethoven Violin Concerto when she was 21. She was a Radio 3 New Generation artist, a scheme we're very proud of at Radio 3. It's been running for 25 years now. At any one time, 12 brilliant young musicians from the UK and around the world on it, broadcasting on Radio 3, appearing at Wigmore Hall and getting to make their debut here at the BBC Proms. It's a fabulous way of spotting new talent.
It is, and you can hear how much the Prommers love her as well. She has commented actually that the Proms is unique in the classical music industry, Lisa Batiashvili says, because she just looks out and sees this sea of people so close to her who love the music so much, who are going to be here coming back and back throughout the season, Nick. And she says it gives her hope.
Oh, well, I mean, there's no better venue for classical music, is there? In the world, maybe? So you can imagine if you're a player of the standard that Lisa is, to perform here just must be an absolute joy.
Does it bring back memories, looking at those Prommers there, of your earliest Proms?
I did. You know what? I actually one of the first Proms I came to was back in 2003, and I can't remember who performed it, but I heard the Sibelius Violin Concerto, and I was way up here as well at the gallery. And it
I
was
love
a
that you're
treat.
replaying that.
Yeah, 22 years on.
Well, what a start to the season. If you are just joining us, welcome back to the Royal Albert.
Okay. Wow, this is one of those pieces where it really is true that no amount of superlatives I can think of could even scratch the surface to describe how this feels. The amount of emotions that we cycled through in this piece and the deep feelings that Jean Sibelius clearly had for music and nature and his country. Oh my gosh. They were certainly not lying that this was very challenging and technical piece, because that was like one of the best things I've ever seen and heard in my life, for real. And yeah, like they've already said everything themselves anyways. So yeah, thank you, Brian, for requesting this. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Anything else you guys want me to check out, let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.